Welcome to Speaking Highly with Jon Huck. I am Jon Huck. With me until the cows come home, Indy Fawcett, everybody.
Hey, my mom used to say that all the time.
Dude. Yep, mine too. I'm turning into my mom.
She grew up in the Midwest, so yeah, it's a thing.
I feel like I should, I keep talking about writing those out, so I have them, and then I don't, and then I'm like, I'll just improvise one, and then when I hear you, I'm like, what do I say? And then I fall back on.
You got it, though. You got it.
I'm my mom. It's
a pandemic. The muscle needs to be exercised, like today, what we're going to be talking about.
Oh, right? What?
How about that?
Wow, dude, that was pretty good. Today's topic is personal trainers, guys. Oh, and Indy, I don't know if did you write that? Was that a pre?
I did.
Okay.
I did
so that was, you thought that was thought out. Okay.
Couldn't have done that.
Solid. Couldn't improv that. That was too much. Yeah, we're talking about personal trainers today. And we have a guest as a guy I've known for a long time, Shaun Broyls. He is a talented comedian, talented actor. He's been in probably every third commercial made for the past 5 years. And currently he is also a physical trainer. He just got his certificate, and we'll talk to him about that as well as everything else he's been up to. And he'll mention the White Sox, and we can probably edit that out, just to be clear. We'll blur his hat.
John.
We'll blur his hat in the background. I didn't tell him this. I wore a Blackhawks hat because I know he's from Chicago and I know he's a White Sox fan. So I was like, I don't want to piss off the guest. I was going to wear a Cubs trainer, like zipped all the way up, And then I was like, I don't do that because then it's going to be, and he starts the whole thing out with a White Sox hat in plain view, but that's okay. That's all right. As far as like physical training, have you ever had a physical trainer? Have you ever had a personal trainer, like a person who's like?
My brother did that.
Oh, really?
Before he went to prison. So yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. He used to. He was
Is he still in prison?
He is still for quite some time for drugs, selling drugs and various paraphernalia. Maybe we can get him on. In jail.
What is all this? How am I just hearing about this?
We could cut this too. It doesn't matter.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's into 10 to 14 right now.
Dude, I had a friend who did 12 of 14. He's out now. He did 12 of 14 for selling 5 pounds of meth to an undercover cop.
Ooh. Yeah,
and he's not a meth. He's not a
thing.
meth dealer. He was a guy who got, he could get weed. And then some dude.
He was just a guy. A guy's guy,
Yeah, well, he's a guy who could get weed, and then like some dude gets out of, I thought you were supposed to be in prison. It was like Carlito's Way. The dude shows up, he's like, hey man, I need 5 pounds of meth. And my buddy's like, oh, okay. I'll find it for you. And then they're like, we got the biggest meth kingpin in all of law. He's like, dude, this is the first time I've really held meth. So what? But
oh my God.
Dude, he got the full, no prior offenses, full book thrown at him, dude.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. And he basically was in and out of prison for 10 years. And then the state was like, we're done with you. You're going federal. So now they threw the book at him and was like, okay, you've been arrested on and off for 10 years for literally the same shit over and over again. But he got in a bad circle of like buying drugs, getting arrested, getting out, buying drugs to pay the lawyer, and then doing it over and over and over and over and over again. So he just dug the hole deeper, and he doesn't want to work. He's not going to work at Jack in the Box. He's not going to work at 7-Eleven. He's too proud. But whatever. We don't have to go into it. But
okay. All right. Well, that is all
What was your question that asked me that? We could start there.
Have you ever had a personal trainer? Or yeah, that was where, and then it went to my brother's in prison for 14 years. So, I don't know where to go now. I think the key, I've seen the personal trainers at gyms, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. Like, I don't know if I could have a personal trainer when I'm working out. Like when I'm working out, I'm already in the mood. I'm working out. I'm doing it. I don't need a guy yelling at me. But then I think maybe you do, because there's been plenty of times when you stop and you're like, I don't want to do any more of that. I've been, I showed up. Isn't that enough? And,
right. I think one thing about it too is like, we don't even realize that kind of mindset of I don't want somebody telling me what to do is the wrong mindset to have in that in that scenario, because you're like, I forgot where I saw some like proverb or something, but like the crustacean, when he changes his shell, he experiences, or she or it or whatever, experiences discomfort and goes, I need to move shells because this sucks, right? And then they grow into a bigger shell. And then it keeps on happening and keeps on happening, right? So there must be suck for you to grow. And exercise always sucks, right? Unless you love it, like Shaun does.
even then, you reach a plane, and then and then nothing really changes, and then you have to mix it up, and and having somebody in your corner who not only can say, "Hey, do one more of those," or "Do this exercise," but also like tell you how to mix it up, because your body gets used to things. Your body will, like if you do the same workout, the exact same workout every day. Yes, you'll see results. And then eventually your body will taper off and you won't see any more new results because you're doing the same thing and your body has adapted to it. Yeah. So you got to mix it up. Whatever that is, it's different for everybody. And a personal trainer can help you kind of get into a better mindset and know, and with confidence, that you're doing the proper exercises to do the things you want to do and meet your goals.
Right. Yeah, and definitely, and like if you have that person that is the drill sergeant, that's also not very helpful too. You could switch.
I guess it depends on how you learn, but I don't like being yelled at.
Right.
It's not fun for me. So some people need that. You know what I mean? There are people that are straight up like, I'm going into the military because I don't have any discipline and I need someone to fucking boss me around and tell me what to do. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you know yourself that much, more power to you,
Yeah.
As far as my workout history, I did nothing until high school football, when I had an overweight coach tell me that I needed to use the pec deck in the weight room so I could take my shirt off at the beach.
The pec deck.
First of all, I live in Illinois. Beaches, not really. And second of all, this guy weighed 370 pounds at the time, God. And he was calling me fat. And I'm 15 years old. I was like, dude, get a bra for your tits, and then we'll talk about me using the pec deck.
Were you also tall at this time?
Yeah, lanky, and I had tits myself, and I was like a weird, fat, lanky, like my body was weird, yeah. But that guy was not helpful. And like working out, the coaches didn't tell you how to work out or what to do. They were just
hell no.
Hit the weight room. So it's like high school kids in there, just like either one massive dude on steroids just putting up all the weight, or me with the idea that if I lift 10 pounds 100 times, isn't that like lifting 100 pounds 10 times? Like I don't know math. I don't know fucking physics. I think
that adds up, John.
Dude,
adds up.
I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. And then they ask you to do the most, I wrestled for 1 year in high school, and I was going to play basketball. I was like, I'm set to go try out for basketball. And the offensive line coach of the football team, the same fuck who called me fat and wanted me to use the pec deck. He fucking, you know what? It's the thing where you got
that thing. What the fuck is a pec deck?
The pec deck.
I don't know. That's great.
Yeah. You thought it was a board they just slapped your nipples with?
Yeah. I don't know what. I really didn't. Yeah. It was just a big question mark in my head. I was like, pec deck.
That's
it's
fair.
funny.
It's the thing you do with the thing. Like
the elbows together. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And when I was wrestling, I was like, I'm going to play basketball. They're like, you're going to wrestle because you're lanky and weird. I was like, what the fuck? And there were no tall wrestlers.
Thanks. Yeah.
So then I'm like, I have to meet, they're like, well, you got to make weight. I'm like, what? They're like, you're in this weight class and you weigh more than the weight class. I'm like, well, then I'm not in that weight class. I weigh more than the weight class. And they were like, no, you have to wrestle in this weight class. And I was like, but I don't weigh that. And they're like, you have to lose the weight. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how? People, like, I'm running in garbage bags. I'm wearing plastic clothes.
I remember my friends doing that. Yep.
Friday night, people are out drinking beers, and I'm doing sit-ups in plastic underwear. So
They come into class in a like they'll have to do it right after the period or something. So they come with a gallon of water that they'll have to literally consume and take out of them in that day. It's like
I knew people made weight the morning of matches, at meets, by taking huge shits. and starving themselves. Wow. It was like, dude, this has to be one of the most unhealthy sports I've ever been involved in. It was really weird. And again, that's not me shitting on wrestling. If you're a high school wrestler, if you're thinking about getting into wrestling, I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm sure now they're beyond that kind of training, because it was like the 90s. We're talking, might as well have been like 85.
I mean, they were doing that up until, I mean, I graduated high school in 2011. They were doing similar stuff.
I'm sorry, fuck you said what? You graduated high school in 2011? I don't want to do this with you anymore. I want someone who's an adult to be here with me.
I am an adult, man. I guess kind of technically.
God, dude, you still got that's why you wanted to do a podcast. You still have hopes and dreams and shit. You're like, we can make it. I get it now. That makes sense.
We will, John. We will.
I know, because of your youth. You won't do it.
I'll be like Shaun Broyls today.
I'll be dead soon, and you can get another host in here. You don't care. I'm replacing.
Hey, I love speaking high. Look at this.
I know. Thank you. And then I didn't work out. I stopped wrestling. I stopped playing football my junior year in high school because I was going to be a guitar player in a rock and roll band, and I didn't have time for sports. As you can see, my music career did not pan out the way I thought it would. But I didn't work out again until college. And then when I worked out in college, it was literally just throwing up as much weight as you could, no matter what you were doing. Pointless. And then you lose interest in it, and then you just get fat. Like you build up muscle, and if you don't maintain a healthy diet, it is literally 90% what you eat. And if you're not maintaining a healthy diet, you're fucked any other way. So currently I'm doing a lot of yoga. That's right now all I do is yoga.
Oh, really?
And I get on a treadmill.
Enjoying it? Or is it not enjoyable?
I am addicted.
Really?
I absolutely love yoga. I can't, if I don't do like at least a couple downward dogs in the morning, I feel like I slept in a suitcase. Like,
are you doing the just the YouTube playlists, or do you pay for something? What do you do?
A Yoga by Adrian.
Yoga by Adrian.
You can go on YouTube. She has free classes. There's also a thing called Floating Yoga School that's really good. That's more intense. I like that for like a workout.
Yeah.
But the Yoga with Adrian, she does these like 30-day programs. Every day you show up on the mat. She's got a new video for you. Honestly,
that's cool.
Mentally and physically, it's the best thing I've ever done.
I got to start doing that. For sure.
I could not recommend it more. Like, my wife sort of brought it up years ago, and then I go to Gold's Gym. And all I do at Gold's was like lift some weights and get on a treadmill. But there's all these classes going on. I'm seeing yoga. And I'm like, oh. And my membership allowed me to take a yoga class. So I did that. And then I was like, it became like a little bit of a challenge. Like for me, I would be like, I want to do these poses better than these people over here in this class. Like I would use people in the class to measure myself against, because I didn't have anything else. And then when the pandemic hit and we all kind of got shut down, I started doing yoga at home and literally haven't stopped. Every day, man. I got to do it every day. It feels great. Good. I enjoy it.
I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to try that out.
Highly recommended. And yoga with Adrian she's very relaxed, she's calm. You know what I mean? She's sometimes her.
It's yoga.
Right, sure, but
unless there's like some,
well,
Slayer yoga out there.
We'll have Jamie Kennedy on eventually, but I was a PA on the Jamie Kennedy experiment, and we did a whole bit where he was a yoga teacher and he was trying to be Zen, and then outside the camera cuts to outside and they blurred our faces, but it's like me and 3 other PAs like beating metal pipes with pots and pans and hammers and making a racket so that the people inside can hear it. And then Jamie loses his mind and he starts yelling. He goes outside, yells at the construction crew. And then he comes back in and tries to be calm. But then one of the construction guys comes in who's like a mountain. You know what I mean? He's like 7 feet tall. And Jamie ends up yelling at him and then getting thrown through a window by him. And then like everybody's screaming and the yoga class just goes to shit. But
that's hilarious.
I don't know if that's online or not, but very funny.
I vaguely remember that.
It was the first time I ever appeared on TV, I think.
That's awesome. No wonder I vaguely remember it. It was
my face
Jon Huck.
Is blurred.
It was all you.
But but other than yoga, man, I don't feel the need. I've also changed my diet, you know what I mean? And that has helped immensely. And I stopped drinking the way I used to drink. And when you quit drinking, you lose weight super quick. So the yoga's kept me.
What's your remedy for drinking? What were you to, and what are you now?
Oh, I was like a couple cocktails a day, you know, a couple beers a day. Weekends more so, you know?
Yeah.
But and now I had a beer watching the Blackhawks game last night, and I opened the beer in the middle of the first period, and I took my last sip of it 15 minutes after the game ended. You know what I mean? It was like,
that's where you're at.
Yeah. I don't, it used to be have it in the hand, never put it down, always, which is how I drink anything if I don't put it down. Like people are like, dude, you've had like 45 bottles of water today. It's like, yeah, if I have it in my hand, it's a thing, no matter what it is. But
the hand to mouth thing. Yeah.
But that's what people who are addicted to smoking cigarettes and then they stop. Part of it is the hand. What do you do with your hand?
I quit cigarettes too. It's the same thing.
Some people twirl a pencil, take a pen. Like I see people who chew pens and I'm like, oh, you are an ex-smoker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever works, man. Because twirling a pen ain't going to give you cancer.
Yeah. I just did, I'll do an e-cig for a year. And then after a year, I told myself, no more e-cigs. And that's how I quit.
Because those things are going to come out to be worse.
It actually ended up being worse. Like I actually ended up, wanting it more, getting it more. Like I could smoke indoors in my apartment, So I was like, okay, this is actually going in a worse. I'd actually prefer smoking cigarettes at that point. And then I was like, okay, this is actually going opposite of what I want. But actually, you do get the benefit of not smelling like an asshole.
Yes. But that's the only benefit. And it works against you in the long run. I think vaping weed is the same way.
Yeah.
It allows, if a kid's not smoking a bowl or a bong and he can get a vape, he's going to vape in his room because he can't smell it.
It's terrible. Your lungs could collapse.
Chemicals that's in there are worse. Like the cough you get from vaping is worse than a cig cough. It's worse than a bong cough. It's like, it's gnarly.
I've even had friends who do it and do the zero nicotine and keep doing it. I'm like, you're not even addicted to it. You just want to do it. It's literally like a binky,
that sounds like you might need new friends.
Also, it's like at a stoplight, you see like now the cars are so great, there's barely any pollution. Now the pollution is coming out of the driver's side window. And it's literally
yeah. And the bigger the cloud, the cooler you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking
but
assholes.
that's another podcast.
Yes, called Dickheads. I was going to say, before I started going to this Gold's over here in Hollywood, I was going to a 24-hour gym on La Brea. It's called Hollywood Gym. And I want to give it a shout out because it's open 24 hours. Barely anybody's there. It's a boxing gym. My buddy Dion trains there.
Shout out Dion.
Trains people there, I should say. Dion Williams is his name, but he trains people in boxing and then also working out and stuff. But it's one of those places where, like I said, not a lot of people. And one day I was in there and I see Eric Roberts is working out. And I was like, oh, Eric Roberts. And then 2 days later, I see Eric Roberts again, but I had just the night before, I love bad sci-fi on like the Sci-Fi Network, like all those Sharktopus and all those movies.
Yeah.
And I had just seen Sharktopus, which is a shark and an octopus are bred for a weapon. The military is using it for a weapon. And
naturally.
He's a general.
Yep.
And I watched this whole movie and I'm like, oh my God, Eric Roberts. And I see him the next day and he's working out. He's on the pec deck. And I kind of walk by and I stop and I go, hey, I don't want to bother you, but I just want you to know I saw Sharktopus last night and I loved it. And he stops working out and he's like, really? I go, yeah, man. He goes, working out. He goes, acting in front of those green screens is really hard because there's no monster. There's no, and I go, bro, as I literally said this, I go, bro, you made it look effortless. And I walked away. And after that, every day he saw me, fist bump.
He's just
fist
crushing
bump.
it.
Before he hit the pec deck, fist bump to me over to the pec deck. That was hilarious. But yeah, I don't have too much. I mean, that's it. I don't. Like I said,
a great transition into the talk today.
Now I do what works for me, and I think that's what everybody should do. Is what works for them. Every body type is different. All our DNA is as as connected as we all are, we are also our own shells, if that makes sense, you know?
Right.
So it's like everybody's different. Don't be discouraged. And with our guy today, Shaun, he points out he makes it fun. He doesn't feel like he's working. He doesn't want you to make it feel like work. He's there to encourage and put you on the right path. Yeah. And we talk about a lot more than that. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a good guy. Known him for a long time. Chicago dude, always solid. So I guess enjoy my conversation with Shaun Broyls, everybody. I realized I almost wore a Cubs thing, and then I was like, no, he's a White Sox fan.
Did you see you see the hat I put in the background?
I almost
front and center, baby.
I have a Sox hat. I went to their spring training facility, and I walked in with a Cubs hat. And I go, I'm not going to take any, am I going to get in trouble for this? And the guy goes, no, that's perfect. We're glad you wore it because if we run out of toilet paper, we're going to need it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they gave me a hat. They gave me a hat like right away to,
That's funny.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when I first got my first job in sports broadcasting at Michigan State. And I didn't know much about it. And my sister was going to Michigan at the time. And I wore my Michigan sweatshirt to Tom Izzo's press conference. He stopped the press conference and said, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know. He goes, take that off. I thought he was kidding. He said, take that sweatshirt off. And I did. And then at the end of the press conference, Tom Izzo had a brand new Michigan State sweatshirt given to me.
Waiting for you. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's really funny, dude. Okay, let's get into it. Your intro, I would say, is how I know you. Comedian, actor, commercial actor extraordinaire, and now personal trainer.
Okay.
Shaun Broyls.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing things. We're all kind of putting our hands where we can put them, you know, and exactly. I'm sure you write and you do whatever else you can do to benefit yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm good with all that, man.
From Chicago, we met doing stand-up. You ran a room in Glendale?
It was in Burbank. It was Tony's Darts Away at the time.
Tony's Darts Away. Okay. That's how we met back in the, I would say, early to mid 2000s?
2003 or 2004. Yeah.
Okay, so that is early for me in terms of like I moved here in end of 99. So
yeah,
when I think about that time, it's like, in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a comedian. I know what's going on. And now I'm like, oh, my God, you didn't know shit.
You knew nothing. Yeah, right? You slayed, though, man. You slayed the club. That's why we're still friends to this day.
Dude, that was a fun room. It was a lot of times you do a bar show and you're like, everything's just devastating. You're like, what am I doing with my time and my life? And like, these people don't care. And it can be a very miserable experience. And I never got that from your room. Even when the crowds were smaller, I don't care. I don't care if there's one person sitting there, as long as that person is paying attention and laughing and having fun.
Exactly. Dude, I've done rooms where they have the game on. They won't even turn the sound down for you. It's like, at least, I don't care if you're watching the game, but you can at least turn down Al Michaels. I don't want to listen to him in general.
Plus, if you're having a performance of any kind, it's just rude as shit, man. I don't like when bars don't tell the patrons what's going on. I did, Mike Ditka's athletic facility and
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's in Illinois. I can't remember
Elgin?
where, but
Elgin maybe, I'm not sure.
It starts with a B, not Berwyn, but anyway, so I went there to do a show years and years and years ago, and I walk in, and everybody there looks exactly like Mike Ditka. It's just mustaches, cranky old white men, and I was like, okay, they're like, this is the stage. I'm like, oh, okay, and they're like, okay, go ahead. I'm like, well, all these people are in the middle of watching a game. I don't think it's a good idea to start the show right now. And the guy goes, okay, and he turns off all the TVs without telling anybody what was going on. And then just pushes me up on stage. There's no intro. There's nothing. So I walk up with a microphone, and everybody already hates me. They're like, "You're the reason we're not watching the game. What? Who are you?" And it was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, I bet.
But your room was not like that, so that was appreciated.
That's awesome, man.
And I went back and looked at like your reels and stuff online. I feel like you and I are very much in demand in the commercial world, but for very different reasons. Like I went back and like, for me, it's you look like a freak. We could put you in looking goofy wherever, and you'll make the thing look strange and weird. As funny as you are and as skillful as you are, I feel like you have been in more stuff that it didn't register that was you. Like you have this very everyman, but like, I don't know how to explain it.
Can we send this to all the casting agents? Can you, that pitch right there, John? I want that sent to every You're tagging all of them, right? Rob,
dude,
Ross, Lacey,
every casting agent, yes, every casting
tag
director.
all of them for me, please.
But honestly, I went back and saw like 5 or 6 ads that I'm like, oh, I know this commercial, and it didn't even. And I know, granted, you go beard, no beard, you know what I mean? They'll shave you down, but like for the most part, man, you are a chameleon in that sense.
Dude, it's been quite the run. I mean, like I said, I started back when we met back in 2003, and I just been lucky that I guess I do have this everyman sort of thing, so I'm not pigeonholed into like, the typical, like, I don't know, angry black guy or the, whatever. Like, I'm able to play a dad. Like back then I wasn't playing dads, but I'm able to play like the random office worker or the random car salesman.
Dude,
Now I can play dads, and now I can play, whatever. So it's, dude, you know how commercials are, man. It's such a, and what's the crazy thing about it is like a lot of people don't like celebrate commercials because they think it's easy. Man, commercials are harder to get than a role on major network show, because all you got to do is go through one casting office and maybe the director. In commercial world, you got to go past the casting office, the director, the producers, the agencies. Everybody's got to say yes to you. So you know what? All you people who think commercials are nothing, stop it. Stop it right now.
And also to your point, like it's so funny because you're right. Like, well, first of all, let's walk back the comment. It's easy to get a role on a network show because
that's true. Yeah, let's walk that back. You're right. You're right. That's true.
Easy.
That's true. Yeah.
But the idea that like a lot of people will view a commercial and it either registers or it doesn't, and they think nothing of it, and they think in their head, oh, what did that take? 10 minutes to make?
Right.
And
sometimes it does.
Before they even roll the cameras, what you're talking about is you have to go in, they have to put you on tape, then they look at you, and then the director looks at you for a second callback if they like you, and then the director has to pitch you to the agency, and then the agency has to then come in, and then you might have to come back. I mean, I don't know how many times you've had to go back, but I went back 4 times, and I was like, on the 4th time, I was like, it either don't give this to me, give it to me. Right. Or whatever, but don't call me back here. Like,
let me go.
It was so, and it was maddening because it wasn't like it wasn't like they weren't like, it's a Super Bowl ad. You're gonna, it was such a minor thing, and they put a lot of thought into those things. Whether they overthink them, whether they are wrong a lot of the times, that's beside the point. But the amount of thought that goes into advertising and making a commercial and casting people, it's pretty phenomenal and pretty interesting.
It's insane. Yeah.
And insane. Yes. That's a better word for it. What was it? You came out from Chicago, I assume.
Right. Yeah.
What was it that brought you out here? Was it this intention?
Well, yeah, actually, I forgot. Actually, it wasn't Chicago. I was in Michigan at the time as a sportscaster.
Oh, and right. Okay.
And so I started doing stand-up while I was doing sportscasting. And so, like, I loved it. You know how it is, man. You get on stage, you get addicted to that, right?
It is addicting, yes.
Yeah, and so I ended up getting this gig where I was the guy who emceed all the clubs in Michigan. So I was driving around Grand Blanc, Michigan, and Flint, and Detroit, and all these places. You can only drive around Michigan so many times before you're like, shit, I'm kind of done with Michigan. I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only make so many. Hey, it looks like.
Where are you?
Hey, where are you here? Oh, hey, we're here. Hey, everybody, I'm here now. So you only make so many of those jokes before you're like, you know what, I got to branch out a little bit. I got to get. So I went out to L.A., and that's when you saw me, and we started a club and all this stuff, and And then, someone told me, why don't you try to get an agent and get into, like, at least start with commercials. And just got lucky, man.
Was it immediate for you?
No, not at all. I probably sent out, and I'm not kidding, probably 500 headshots. And that was back with the envelopes, where you had the envelopes and you had to type out the letters.
Dude, the amount of crafting we had, like
Yeah.
I had to trim the headshot wasn't as big as the piece of paper.
Kinkos.
So I wanted to I cut it was the insanity of sending out packets.
Oh yeah, dude, I lived at Kinko's because they were the only ones that had the
sweet paper cutter. Yeah,
the paper cutter. So I would take hundreds of headshots and chop them down so they would fit into the envelope, and then I would write the letter, put it in there, stamps. I don't know how much I used to walk to the post office right next to my house. And the funny thing is, I even created a fake agent for myself, a manager, to put in the envelope to refer myself to the agency. His name was Stan Greenstein, and I was like, you know what? A Jewish guy it is. I've got to make him a Jewish guy. They'll think this is real. Stan Greenstein.
Sounds like the fakest name I've ever heard. Stan Greenstein. I would have read that and been like, yeah, this is horse shit. There's no Stan Greenstein.
Dude, you know what? It just came to me. I remembered his company. It was Stan Greenstein from Ingenious Entertainment.
Meanwhile, whoever reads that is like, I'll tell you what's not ingenious. This fucking packet as they drop it into the garbage.
Is that why I didn't get any responses?
But what I was going to ask, what was your like feedback on that kind of stuff?
Zero.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was, I had gone like a year of doing this and living out in LA. And so, meanwhile, my wife, and we had a little infant baby, 1 at the time. My wife's like, you better get this shit going. You better do this now, or else we're going
to leave. We have to leave.
Oh, we're going to leave. We got to.
Yeah, we can't live here if we're not doing this.
Right. So I saw an ad somewhere for a headhunter. Remember the old headhunters that would put you in front of agency? They charge you a fee. They put you in front. So there was this guy. His name was Keith Wolf. And he charged $500. And he said he'll put you in front of agents and you perform. And if you get signed, you get signed. So I borrowed $500 from my parents. I said, look, this is it, man. I just have to get. I performed in front of like 5 agents. 1 signed me. And then the next, 2 months, I auditioned. I got one of my first ads, my very first ad, a Macy's ad. And from there, it just kept going. And I paid all for $500. This whole thing started with a $500
loan
payment
from your parents. Yeah.
Loan from my parents, which I've never paid back. Don't tell them.
They're your parents. They know. I don't think if your parents are giving you $500, there's very little hope they're ever going to see that money again.
That's for true. That's for true.
But you say so you sign, and then a couple months, which I think is funny because when I finally got an agent, it was like a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I booked my first commercial. So in my head, I was like, "Oh, this is just easy, right?"
Right.
Meanwhile, you then talk to people in these audition waiting rooms. Some of them, years with nothing. Years with nothing. Like when I don't book a couple commercials a year now, I'm enraged.
Yeah, no doubt.
So to have no feedback and it would just be hard to keep going. You know what I mean?
I remember that was my first thing. Like when I first got out here, I remember running into a guy and he was like, I haven't had an audition 5 years. And I was thinking to myself, is this really what I want to do? Because I couldn't go 5 years. Like 2019 was rough for me. That was the first year in a decade I haven't booked a commercial, right?
Whoa, yeah.
And so like, that's one of those years where you're like, and I had to hustle doing other stuff, but that's one of those years where you're now, and you know how it is. Now you start thinking, maybe I should start investing in commercial properties, and maybe I should start,
What can I do? What can I do now?
What can I do? Because you start thinking, is that it? Am I going to be in one of those 5-year floods where I don't see any bookings? Now, luckily it changed, but I mean, your mind starts really going nuts when you're like that.
Well, you know what doesn't help is when you hear people like Harrison Ford, who every time he finishes a movie, in his head, he's convinced himself that no one will ever hire him again. He's not that good. And you're like, Dude, if Harrison Ford can't be confident, what fucking chance do we have? This guy's Han Solo in Indiana Jones, for fuck's sake.
Right.
It's like, you don't get any more iconic than that. If he played Jaws in the movie Jaws, maybe, but...
Right, yeah, right? Yeah, you don't have to audition anymore, Han.
Yeah, dude, we'll just give you the part. It'll be fine. But it's just like it messes with your brain when you... We like to think, we're actors, we can handle rejection. That's what it's all about. It's not a big deal, but enough of that, and you're like, this is enough. I don't want any more rejection.
Exactly,
it sucks.
Man. Yeah, no doubt.
What was your first? Do you remember what your first the Macy's one? You said it was.
The Macy's was the first big one. I worked with this. There's a director named Noam Merle, and he's really this like intense Italian director. And I remember being so amped up. It was an overnight shoot because they had the Macy's closed down, and I was so amped up. And
was it the Macy's downtown?
No, it's the Macy's in. No, it wasn't downtown.
Okay.
It was in the valley. It was in the valley somewhere.
Okay.
So, it's like 30 years ago now. I think. I mean, it's so long ago. So my only role, the only thing I had to do was walk into the room with an apple, sit down, and take a bite because I was supposedly waiting for my wife shopping. So I get up and I stroll in like I'm from the Jeffersons, like I'm George
walking.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm walking. I'm all like,
got form.
This was like something you'd watch in the second grader, like a second grader on stage, like stomping in with an apple, like, "Hi, here's my apple.
Acting.
I'm about to take a bite." He said he stopped the cut. He cut the shot. He said, "You know what? Why don't you just try walking?"
And you're like, yeah, okay. I thought I was.
Yeah,
but
that was a little much. That was a little much. I get it. That was a little much. Okay. So so after a couple takes, I got it. And he ended up hiring me again later for an Alltel ad we did. Remember Alltel?
Not really.
That wireless company.
Yeah.
So he hired me back for that, which was great. But that was my first experience on set, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst actor there is, and you know.
But did you sports casting in Michigan? So you're in front of the camera. You've got a little bit of that like kind of comfort level, which puts you probably above a lot of people coming into the game in LA, like for the newbies. No formal training in terms of acting, though, right?
Just school. I was a theater actor in school, but that was it.
Okay,
Not until I got here. Oh, that's a lie. I took improv class at Second City in Chicago. Before I got out here. But I mean, outside of commercial, like there was no commercial training whatsoever, and that's a totally different beast. I ended up taking a commercial class here once I had a dry spell for a few months. I was like, let me take. And I forgot how different commercial acting is. So, like coming out here dry like that and not doing anything, but I think that helped me because, when you do sports casting, it's a lot of live stuff. You're live, you're ad-libbing, you're doing a lot.
You got to fill the airtime.
You got to fill the airtime.
Yeah.
I had won a couple AP awards, Associated Press awards for best live broadcaster. And so that was awesome. The kind of confidence that took me out here. I was like, you know what? If I can kill live broadcasts like that and be able to ad lib and slip and do, and I've taken my course at Second City, I should be able to do okay out here. And so I think a lot of people, when they come out here, they don't have that kind of background to fall on because you know how it is, man. Like half the battle is walking in that room confident. Like you see the people sitting there out there who are scared to death. And those are the ones that are going to freeze on camera, especially if they ask you to ad lib and improv. So like that was like my little bonus I had when I first got out here was I was used to that. And like nothing scared me as far as being off script or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. I was going to say, I was thinking because with no real formal training or anything, you stomp in, you don't really, like you overact a little bit, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's
first job, yes.
Yeah.
But
that was nerves too. You're just amped up. You're like, I got to give them a show. They hired me for a show.
And I'm thinking, I know this is going to be like a 4-second cut. I've got to do my best.
I have to shine. I have to shine in this 4 seconds, dude.
Right. So I said, but as far as the audition room, generally I'm pretty laid back. So, especially now when, unless they're looking for a certain quirky type. They want real. They want down to earth.
Down to earth. That's exactly right. And it's the more subtle, the more like, there's no big it's all it's getting smaller. So
at the same time, John, isn't that getting old though? I mean, you know how much fun it is to perform. How isn't it getting dull to have to go into a room now and they keep telling you, now don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just state no expression. I mean, we want to perform. We want to have fun.
Yeah, part of it is it takes pressure off. So sometimes for me in my head, when it's like they don't want anything from me, they want to look at my face and they want to make sure that I don't walk in coked up, and they want to make sure that I don't have that I'm not like, rude to people. Is this guy going to be okay to have on set? Because mostly I'm the guy in commercials that pops in and is like, I'm weird, and then I fart and then I pop back out. I'm not the guy going, hey, you know what you should do is invest in this company, because nobody wants to hear that from me. Nobody's going to look at me and go, what's this guy doing with his money?
Unless they hire you as a Chris Elliott. That would be how they would get over that.
I've auditioned to play his dad and I didn't get it.
Are you
I auditioned to play his dad in a flashback on Eagle Heart and I did not get it. And I will tell you.
Did you see the guy that did? Did you see the person that did?
I didn't watch the episode, but I walked into that. I've never in my life walked into an audition room as cocky as I was that day. I saw the breakdown. People have been mistaking me for Chris Elliott since I was in college.
Right.
So I walked in looking at all these other ugly motherfuckers going, you can all go home now. Chris Elliott's here.
Look who just walked in. Yeah.
Nobody even bats an eye when I walk in. They don't care. The casting chick, I do my thing. Probably underprepared because I was cocky. And I was like, well, they're going to take one look at me and hire me. And afterwards she goes, okay, thanks. And I go, huh? And she goes, what? And I go, huh? And she goes, what are you doing? And I go, don't you think I look just like him?
No, you didn't.
And she says to me the exact things that I say to other people when they say, you look just like Chris Elliott. I say, thank you, but he's 5'8". I'm 6'5". He's bald. I have hair. He's 65. No. I'm in my 40s. You know what I mean? Like I always give those comparisons. So people are like, okay. That's what she gave back to me. She worked with him every day. She's like, I know this guy. Ouch. You're not him. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks, bye. Did not book it.
Yikes.
But yes, in the regular world, people think I am Chris Elliott. So it's weird. Who knows?
Yeah. I've walked into one like that really confident because, and I got it. That was the McDonald's commercial a few years ago. It was specifically for a sportscaster. So and one who could ad lib. So I walked in there knowing like that, like you know how it is. You never feel like that. And it never actually happens that you get it. So like that was the one where I walked in. I'm like, man, y'all ain't got shit on me.
Yeah,
man. Look,
if there's somebody better than me, go ahead and give it to them. But you're not finding them.
Yeah, so that was the one that. But there's been others that you walk in. I've gone out for other reporters' jobs, never gotten it. So it is how it is, man.
It is, but it's still like I try not to lose the enthusiasm for it. Right. I think for a while I was kind of just down on the whole idea of it, and it bummed me out just being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
But now I look at it as like and maybe it's the pandemic and maybe it's not, but anytime I get a chance to act for anything, whether it's on a Zoom audition, whether it's in a sketch for a friend, I try to take that now and be like, all right, let's make this the best we can make it,
Oh yeah.
And just be excited to get into it, even when there's no, necessarily like a payout at the end for you.
Right. No, it's fun to perform. That's why I think the two that I booked this year were not this year, but 2020 were performance piece. Like one was a dancing like crazy hip guy and I went to Goodwill. I bought a green shiny woman's blouse and wore it and really committed to it. And then the next one, I'm a zombie that's hopefully going to be in the Super Bowl. And so
I saw that. They let you post some of those pictures.
Yeah, they did?
Oh, I mean, I thought I saw. Nope.
Huh? No, I think something leaked because like I got TMZ following me all the time. Like so, like I think it was like Van was on there and like he took a picture of me, like posted it and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
But yeah, a zombie role. I've heard of it.
Yes. So actually I could talk about it now because Tracy Morgan just leaked it. It's a new Rocket Mortgage commercial. So for the Super Bowl, I just hope that I make one of the vignettes. But, But for that commercial, I took an old dress shirt. I went out, I stomped it in the mud, I poured dirt over it, I just really got into it, wiped it on my smoker, the grill, to get grease all over it. And then, put makeup on and really perform. But it's like you were saying, it's one of those things where, you know what, if I get this, I'm going out for a zombie. They could choose anybody. So why not have fun with it?
Yeah, exactly. I think some of the more fun auditions I've had since the pandemic started have been these like Nickelodeon shows that are they talk about not being subtle. Like if you're an adult on a Nickelodeon show, you're the idiot of the show. Adults are morons, it's like, it's all kids with businesses and the adults are like, they don't know what's happening. So it's like, the two auditions I've had like that, my wife has gotten involved in just like we do different voices and we just like break it down and like just make like an afternoon of it and have a good time with it because you have as many chances as you need to get it right. And and again, a Nickelodeon show is going to come down to essentially if you're going as big as they need, but do you fit a look and how you
Right. That's the only thing I miss from going to the rooms because believe me, I truly enjoy being able to set my own schedule here at home and shoot this thing whenever I want. Yeah. But that's the only thing I miss from actually auditioning in person is the actual direction. Because now we're sitting here, we're really just reading it and taking a guess as to what they want because we get no feedback. So, I
agree. It is a little harder.
It's a lot harder when you're going out for something like that. I went out for a dad in the Disney show. You never know how big they want and all this stuff. And
it's always nice to have somebody go, take it down a little bit or try it like this, or this is more what they've told me they were looking for, or,
Yeah. And in the most Hollywood story, I reached out because I just got this TV agent, theatrical agent recently, like over the summer. So I've only had a few auditions. So this was my biggest audition so far. It was last month. So I reached out to Yvette Nicole Brown from Community. Yeah. She follows me on Twitter, and I was like, I've worked with her on a game show. Maybe she'll answer. Not only did she answer, she said, "Call me, I'll read with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, Yvette Nicole Brown's going to read with me," because she was Helen on Drake and Josh. She's one of those actresses that has done.
She came
Disney,
from that. Yeah, she's dealt with
from
it.
that. So she read with me, and she told me how great a job I was. But again. I never got called in, so that's a Hollywood story for you. You call in, you
get a favor from Yvette Nicole Brown, and it doesn't go anywhere. But still,
but I was happy to hear from her, man. She was like, you're doing a great job. That's the thing we never get out here, especially like maybe you and I would give each other honest feedback and be like, dude, you're killing it. I love this. But in general, if I'm talking to someone who's my type, they will never give me any honest feedback or never give me any kudos or anything because I'm their competition. I try not to think in those terms because I feel like there's enough jobs for all of us. But
there in general, the way I look at it, I'm with you. Is like I used to be like, oh fuck, what is this? Another red-haired guy with a beard? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And now I'm literally like, come on in. There's room for everybody. If I'm not good enough to get this, that's on me. That's not on you for looking like me. That's, we can't help this genetic makeup. Like it's not like I can, so just there's like, I like that. There's room enough for everybody. There doesn't have to be a fucking.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be like that too, walking in the room, but I get like that when I see people who have booked all the time. Like when you go into a room and you see like the guy who's in a million ads. And like when I was just on the ad as I was a zombie, the main guy, the husband, I've gone against a million times and he was the husband. And so when I see those guys in the room, I'm like, shit.
But you got to know at this point, you are one of those guys. When other people would see you, like if I was your build and your type, bald, all that, and I saw you and I knew that you'd been in like a fucking every third commercial made for the last 5 years, I'd be like, oh, dude, they're going to go with the guy they already worked with. Like this, you know what I mean? Like I would just, but I should say that would have been my mindset years ago, you know? Now I'm like, I don't care if you look just like me. I'm going to do something different.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So, and what I think I was guilty of forgetting and what other people aren't remembering or don't think about is that only you can bring what you bring.
Isn't that something?
And I think people forget that. It's like, oh, I got to do this character. But also, who are you? And what would you do if you were in that situation? And how can you make yourself
right
this person, you know, without
I'm
making it look like acting?
Right. That's what I'm kind of learning with this whole TV and film, these roles, is how to make bring myself more into the character, because we've done commercials for so long. You get beaten down in the sense of don't do anything. So like I've been bred to not do anything for years and years and years. And now finally I'm getting the opportunity to, I can bring myself into this. Okay, well, let me do that now. So
let's do it.
It takes a little mindset change, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. It is a challenge because while I'm great at doing memorizing and doing all that stuff, it's taken me a bit to get out of that commercial mindset where, I'm just supposed to be in this box and that's it. Yeah. And so now, especially when I went out for the Disney show, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to actually have fun with this. And, who gives a damn what they think?
Exactly. Because eventually they're going to be like, I like this guy's attitude. He doesn't give a shit what we think.
Right. And they might bring you back for something else if they like you. Like you said, when you walk into the room.
Yes.
When you walk into the room, they're looking to see, hey, can I work with this guy? So maybe they're not looking at you for that one, but they will remember you the next time you go out.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been brought in because they remember me from another audition. You know what I mean? It's like that's a legitimate thing. You might not fit what they're looking for today, but these are the people that work all the time. So tomorrow they're going to have a new project. That's the other thing about commercials. It's like they just bam, 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 bam.
Constantly. And it's funny because I always cringe when an actor alongside me does something that I think, oh my God, like they're going to remember that and they're not going to want you back. Like 2004, I was in a Toyota commercial with Phil Jackson. And it was a Phil Jackson campaign, and he would pop up as the Zen master. And I was in a commercial with him. Yes, so we're driving at night, and my scene partner, he's like, he says, and I was young at the time, so I wasn't really like outspoken. He was like, dude, because he was driving the car. He goes, dude, I think I'm gonna call my agent because I think I should get stunt driver pay. And I go, I was young at the time, but I go, why don't you just let that rest? Because, you're going to get production involved. You might not, He goes, no, I'm going to do it, man. I deserve stunt driver pay. So he ends up calling his agent. They have to figure it out. We end up finishing the shoot. But do you know, I have never seen that guy in anything or at any audition ever again. Why make waves? Why do anything like that?
Dude,
it's crazy.
I've heard stories. I think it was John Reap as a guy who was on. He was the Dodge Hemi guy for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And it started out as two guys, and the other guy was doing that kind of like, I should get more money for being in the. I should get And he tried to and they pretty soon they were like, we're just gonna go with the dude who's easy to work with. And that's not to say, if you're being wronged on set or you're being screwed over, that you shouldn't say anything. But if he's not having to do donuts or any legitimate stunt driving, if he's driving a car and just pulling and parking, you should not get stunt pay. I'm sorry.
No,
that's a skill that's probably on his resume. I can drive a car.
You're Brian Dunkelman yourself. Brian Dunkelman.
Yes,
Is that a verb? Did I just turn Brian Dunkelman into a verb? Brian Dunkelmaning?
I think I've heard it before, and I think he's probably used it. I mean, he's the guy, for anyone who's not familiar, he was co-host of American Idol with Ryan Seacrest, basically, and did the kind of asked for more. And I think he's made tons of jokes online about it. I don't think saying anything that he would be because every time someone's like, and they need coaches and they got fired, and his comments like, I know how that goes. Like,
yeah. No, he makes fun of himself all the time.
Yeah,
but I think of that all the time. It's like, you could end up like that, or you could end up, even if he'd been on a few more years, he's going to be a millionaire by now. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. As this before this pandemic, I would say 2019, maybe 2018 even, you sort of started to, you were never like a fat guy, but you were like me. You were like, we liked our fucking Portillos. You know what I mean? We liked our
Absolutely.
fucking
Giordano's. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of noticed you're like, there were Instagram posts. I'm going to the gym. I'm working out. And then it was like, and I know this isn't overnight because it just seems like that for someone who's not involved. All of a sudden, you had delts and like you're like ripped and like you just got fucking muscles. It was like, what was the
dude? I'll tell you. It's funny. I thought about that recently because I used to work out a lot, like back in Kansas. But I thought about that's when I was a news anchor in Kansas. And for anyone who doesn't know, or people who you wouldn't know, I was a news anchor in Kansas. After my 2 years was up and it was time to for them to decide whether to sign me or not, they decided not to sign me, and they re-signed me, and they said it was because I was too funny for their TV. Right? That's what they said. You're too funny for air.
What?
Okay. Yeah, that's what they said.
Well, maybe how funny were you? Well, I guess you can't be delivering the news like 6 shot today and hey, am I right, everybody?
No. I was a weekend anchor, and I would take every opportunity I had to cut up in between the shootings and the knifings and the earthquakes or whatever, or tornadoes or whatever. Yeah. So, we're a weekend anchor. That's what you do. So after I got let go, I was struggling, man. I had to figure out, like, what are you going to do? I took a job at Toys R Us to overnight stocking shelves because I wanted to write a book and I wanted to fund it. So I did that. And then I was trying to figure out, like, what do you do? What can you do? Now, when you're trying to figure that out, you have a lot of time on your hands. So I started lifting weights. I got into P90X. And so that was
the first thing I saw you do, P90X.
That was the first thing. And that was back when I had lost my job because I had just time for days, right? And so later when I moved here and I got into a sort of a dry spell again, started lifting weights again. And now I'm who I am the way I am. But I figured it out, man. I love lifting weights and working out because in this business, we can't control so many things. Like, we can't even control how good we perform and how it will be received. We could put on our best performance ever, not even get a call back, right? And I got kind of sick of that because I felt I'm doing really well at these auditions. I'm not getting booked. But then I started working out and I started seeing my body changing and and then I was like, you know what? I'm putting in the work and I'm seeing the change. And that became addicting because you feel like when you put in the work professionally, you should see the results. But in acting and in a lot of professions, it's not necessarily like that. You put in the work, you may not see the results. But in weightlifting and training and stuff, you put in the work, you see the results. And I got addicted to that because I was so tired of putting in the work and not getting professionally seen for it. So I think that's what ended up making me move into that phase and I'm like, this feeling is great, man. Let me pass this feeling along. So I started studying to become a personal trainer last year or 2 years ago. And eventually, right when this pandemic started, I got certified as a personal trainer. And the feeling, I try to bring that to everybody else too.
See, and that's, I think, to me, that's the key is you're doing what you're doing because you want to help other people feel what you feel. You know what I mean? Like when you tell jokes on stage, it's a gratification. It's selfish and it's helpful. Like it's selfish because it makes you feel good because you're making people laugh and that's making them feel good. So Absolutely. It's kind of a good selfish. So if you're feeling good because you've been working out and you can see these results and then you're passing this on to other people, it feels good for you, but it also helps them. It's like, again, a good selfish. It's like a positive selfishness.
Yeah, I'm feeling great when I'm on stage and I'm making people laugh and they say, you know what, you made my night, I had a bad week, whatever.
Right.
And it's the same thing with working out. Like with people, normal people don't get the rewards they believe they should get. Normal people, you go to work, I would guarantee you probably 99% of people who go to work on a daily basis will say in some way they get screwed every day. Their work isn't appreciated. They work too long. Their boss doesn't think they do, but they feel like they're doing the best job they can. So when you work out, if you actually do that same work and you start seeing results, it's like, you know what? Screw work, screw acting, screw all this stuff. I can actually manipulate something in my favor, and I have control over it. It's about having control. And there's very few things in life we have control over, and our health and our fitness is one of them, or two of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
That's fantastic, dude. I love that. And we talk about this on the show a lot, but if you do anything with love, then it will succeed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you are, and when I say succeed, I'm like, you'll gain what you need from it. You know, I don't,
Right.
wealth is not success to me. Fame is not success, but like feeling whole and being like a person is successful, you know?
Exactly. Especially like when, even when I don't get a job acting, if I feel like I poured everything into it and I feel like, and I watch the tape back, I'm an absolute freak when it comes to these self-tapes, because if I feel like I've done a good job, you'll see the clock. It just keeps turning, and I'll keep watching my thing over and over and over again, just because I'm so happy with it, right? And I may not get the callback or anything, but I feel that joy. I'm like, I'm so happy with the way this turned out. So, like, you can control things if you put, like you said, your heart into it and your effort into it. The results in the end, it may take longer than you thought, but eventually you're going to see those results in some way.
Yeah. And it'll be positive. And when you like the way you look, you feel better, but you also, as you're doing that, will feel better because of what you're doing.
Dude,
you know?
Yeah.
Was there a catalyst that you said, I can help other people with this? This is something I'm good at. I know enough. You weren't like intimidated by certification.
Yeah, the certification was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
Really? I was going to ask if that was like kind of laughable or if it was like legit.
No, I wanted one of the legit ones. There's a few out there. There's NASM, there's ACE, there's ISSA. And so like I wanted one of the legit ones so that I could, I didn't want to be one of these overnight ones that I can get my master's degree in 2 months online. I didn't want that, right? So
you wanted to be a fireman, not a cop. It takes like 2 years to become a fireman. It takes like 3 weeks to become a cop.
I heard that only this year. I never knew that.
I didn't know it until this year, until 2020 either, and then I was horrified by it.
Isn't that pretty crazy? So I was like, this is gonna be easy because I know how to work out. No. You learn about it's like kinesiology and muscle science and exercise science and all these things. And so as I'm learning, as I'm reading, I'm like getting hyped up. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go work out. Let me test these things that I'm right. And so as you do this, you think about people like my wife. She works out, and I'm like, you know what? I could help her see results quicker because I know these certain things now. Then I thought about my dad, who's 88 years old at the time, and I'm like, you know what? My dad is retiring. He used to run for the L every day. Every morning he runs to catch the bus, runs to the bus to the L station. He's retiring. He's going to need to stay active. So I thought about him. And I'm like, you know what? There's a section in here on how to work with seniors. And then I started just doing the stuff in my head. How many people do I know that could actually use this information in a better way, and who have told me, man, I wish I see you working, I wish I could do that and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Look, to be honest, John, I know I'm a conversational guy, and I know I can influence people. I know people like my personality, and I thought, if I put that together with the actual exercise science, I might be able to make some people happier. And
fuck yeah.
And that's what has happened for the last 6 months.
Dude, and that's how, and you've been doing this for the last 6 months. You've been training people. Are you doing it online?
I'm doing it both, all of it. Yeah, I started with my dad. My dad was my first client. 88
How
years
old? You said he's 88? Because I saw a picture of him.
He turned 89 January 1st.
What the fuck are you talking about? The man doesn't look over 60 years old. Am I crazy?
The genes are incredible. I have no idea. I had no idea, man.
First of all, I won't live to be 88. Second of all, if I do, it's going to look like a used catcher's mitt that was run over by a truck. It's not going to be like things I'm going to be posting online with my face involved. I can tell you that. My God.
Yeah, you'll still be booking.
That's when I'll book the most. It's like, this guy looks like he's been run over a couple times.
Yeah, we need a Dave Letterman.
Dude, that or like an old blue from old school or whatever. That'd be my big final role.
dude.
But that's
yeah,
crazy. You worked with your dad, get him help.
So I worked with him, and then I started working with my wife, and then and that's when the pandemic just had really gotten going. So I was working outside at the park here in Burbank with people, and that's when I started. And then I thought, okay, I've got a lot of people interested in this. We have this garage outside. There's nothing. I mean, it's just full of junk. Why don't I invest what I've made so far and renovate this thing? And we put like 3,000 or 4,000 into it, and I can't describe. Like it's like my man cave, but exercise, like gym.
I thought I was gonna see a single tear come down when you looked away. You were like, I gotta tell you, man.
Dude, we're so proud.
Well, that's awesome, though.
It's so now people can come there and we wear masks right now and stuff, and I have all this. Man, I spend so much money on disinfectant and
sanitizer
and sanitizer and stuff. So but it's only one person in there at the time. So they come in and we work out there. We have access to all this equipment, and man, people, and I do it for them there. Some people are online. I have a guy in Detroit. He works out from his home gym there, and I take him through that. I have a woman in San Diego. My dad's in Chicago. My brother-in-law's in Chicago. I have people all over, and we work online virtually. And it's just, dude, it doesn't even feel like work, man. It just feels like, how it is. When you know something and you want to help somebody and they're willing to listen, man, shoot, it's not even work, man.
And not that you would be working out that much, like that often, but you would be working out anyway. So you're basically at the same time. When I saw personal trainers in the gym, I used to think, my God, how are you not insanely ripped? Because all you should be doing is working out alongside your clients all day.
Dude, that's what I do. And that's like, I didn't really get, like, you've seen since I've probably done that, because I end up working out like 3 times a day because I'm working out, like when I'm
with
doing
people.
something. With people. Like when I have somebody virtually, I don't want them to feel like they're on an island by themselves. Like they're just there and I'm staring at them.
Right.
So like I'll work out with them. And so I end up burning so many calories. I mean, dude, I get to work out for free. I get paid to work out. And it's just, dude, it's such a cool, this summer, honestly, man, between that, the commercials, I mean, it's been a crazy, like the pandemic has sucked for so many people, and it's sucked in ways that I know you and I feel, and that we haven't been able to go out and talk to people and be, and just like, we're very social people, and it sucks not being able to do that. But professionally and like in enriching myself, it's been just an incredible 6 months.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on like just become like enriching myself. I'm just trying to become a better person. You know what I mean? It's like you have more time to sit and go, what is really important to me? What are the things that I've been what am I chasing that I don't really care about? And then what should I be focusing my energy on? It's one of those things. Everyone's not going to come out of this with a good mindset, but it's hard, but it's worth trying to maintain and cultivate as you're going through it.
It is. The only problem is, if you have kids and stuff and they're at home all the time.
That's got to be rough on everybody. How many kids? Do you have kids? How many kids?
Yeah, we got 2 right here that live with us, and we have 1 in Michigan. That was one of the problems. We have 1 in Michigan, an older daughter who had our first grandson, if you can believe that.
You're a grandpa?
I am a grandpa as of February 23rd last year. So we're going back to Michigan. We're going back to Michigan to see. Now you see where I get it, man. My dad.
I just thought it was like whoever is it a granddaughter, grandson? When your grandson is showing pictures of you, it's like, this is my grandpa. Like, how does your grandpa look younger than your dad? Like he's going to ask.
They're going to say that, but they're also going to say, why is your grandpa black? Because see, he came out white. Because my daughter's half, and then the boyfriend is white, so he came out pure white. So see, like when I take him to the store, there's going to be a bunch of 911 calls and stuff. So that's going to be fun though. Hey, yeah, pop, you're arrested again for taking me to get ice cream.
Well, I hope that never happens, but I do hope you can fuck with people with it.
Hey, he's bald like me right now, so hey, we look alike.
You guys both have baby heads. That's all you need to know. Man. That's all you need to know. Once you got your certificate, like how you said it took 6 months. How long?
It took me. I started September of 2019. it's only really supposed to take 4 months, but then I hit Christmas and then I forgot everything. So then in January, I restarted and I read those books 3 more times over to be able to take the test. So it's that, dude, I'm telling you, man. I got into Dartmouth and Stanford, and that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
That's
ever.
insane. I mean, that's because it literally looks like it's like, hey, can you touch your toes? Hey, do you know how to, you know, the proper form of a bicep curl?
Yeah.
Great. You're in. Like,
yeah. How's your hip feel? Yeah. Can you stretch? How's your hip feel? That's my main question. How's your hip feel?
How's your hip feel?
That's it.
Oh, when you're dealing with your dad, I'm sure that's a question you got to ask. How's your hip feel?
That's my main question. Yeah, but it took. So it ended up taking, like, once I rebooted in late January, it ended up taking like 4.5, 5 months before I felt like, okay, I can take this test. And I did. I took it and passed and really, killed it. Killed the test.
With the first time, right? You passed it, yeah. So
I've seen so many people that fail it like over and over and over. It's that hard.
It also sounds like you were never shy about putting in work, meaning like, the acting, you would take classes, you would figure it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it makes sense that you would almost not overstudy, but like,
oh, I did.
You were so prepared that people were probably like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're going to make us all look fucking stupid. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely, dude. In fact, my mom was like, she's like, because my mom owns her own social service agency. So she's been doing work for 45 years with the same social service. And even she was like, okay, she texted me once. She goes, you have to stop studying. You're over studying. I mean, my mom is someone who went to Harvard to try to get a law degree in her 60s or 50s, in her 50s. She went to Harvard just because she wanted to get a law degree. After about 6 months, she's like, yeah, I took some classes. I don't want to do this anymore. But she just did it. Lived on her own in Boston.
So you come from genes of people who are like, here's something I want to do. I'm going to go do it.
I think that's why no one blinked an eye when I said I wanted to go to LA. I think that's why they were all like, normally they're like, trying to talk you out of it, tell you the odds, all that stuff. Man, in this case, they were just like, yeah, you're good, go.
Because they'd already known that in your head, you were like, this is what I'm going to do. So it didn't matter who said no or don't or whatever.
And they knew regardless of what they said, it was not going to happen anyway.
Yeah,
I was going to go anyway.
Well, good. Props to your mom for doing that. Jesus, that's once I got out of college, I was like, I am never gonna study for anything again, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like
I thought the same thing, and I think that's what took me. I mean, this is really the first time I'd studied since college, like actually reading books and stuff, and muscles and nerves and that kind of stuff, and blood and just how everything works. I was like, this is so out of my element. I just want to tell people to lift, to pick up a dumbbell.
Here's a proper amount of weight you should be lifting. Don't lift with your back.
Right. Bend your knees.
Yeah.
Go out for a walk. That's all I wanted to tell people. But it honestly, learning all that and knowing why all that works, it's just like when I took the commercial acting class. Learning why they cast the way they cast, like that helps you become a better actor. So learning why the body works the way it works helped me become a better trainer. So that's, I knew in the end it would pay off. I just didn't know how much. I mean, right now I got a lot of clients right now, and I'm stunned. So it's really it's been crazy. Like I said, with that, with the commercials, we didn't even get to talk about the game show.
Jesus, yeah, dude, you've been on like 400 game shows. What? How? Why can't I look? You have a reel of like 50 game shows. I'm like, whoa, and you're a contestant,
dude. It's crazy though. Here's how it works. So game shows, they just want you to be just the total biggest, like, craziest asshole in the planet, right? They just want you to be like someone you would, if you saw them walk into a party, you'd be like, I'm leaving this party.
That guy's gonna be real fucking annoying.
He's gonna be annoying. I'm done, right? So that's, if you ever want to go out for a game show, be the person at the party who
nobody wants to hang out with at the party. That's some solid advice.
That's it. And so before I got my first job out here, that Macy's job in 02 or 03, I saw an ad to apply to be on Hollywood Squares. And so I got in the room and did it, and I ended up on Hollywood Squares. And at that time, who's the ball guy that hosts Deal or No Deal? He hosted. He was the center square. Howie.
Howie Mandel. Yeah.
He was the center square. So that was my first game show, and then they called me back to do a little game show called Balderdash, which was nothing. And then after that, man, it's come to the point. Okay, let me just list them.
Yeah.
Celebrity. 2013 was Wheel of Fortune. My wife and I went out like 4 times, drove all around California to audition. We ended up on Wheel of Fortune. We won like $9,000. 2015, we did Celebrity Name Game, which was a show hosted by Craig. Ferguson, I think.
Yeah.
And then they asked me back to do it again because we hadn't won. So I did that twice. Then they called me and said, "Hey, Shaun, we got Alec Baldwin's hosting this show called The Match Game. Do you want to do that?" I said, "I don't have to audition." They said, "No, we'll fly it to New York. Do it." So I got on that, and I won the $25,000 on that. So after that, I ended up doing this past year. Because you have to, at this point, I've been on so many that
that was my next question is there has to be a time limit. If I can't go to Oregon and do 2 clubs in the same 50-mile radius, you can't just pop on every fucking game show every day.
Well, I could at first, but then after I started doing these bigger shows that were on, like Match Game, then I was on the radar because it was a primetime ABC show.
People are like, that guy's hired to be a game show contestant. This is rigged.
Boom. So when I wasn't on shows, they started hiring me to be a game show run-through contestant, which
yes,
is a guy
I've done that. Yeah,
tests game shows. Dude, I probably made $2,000 or $3,000 in a year just doing that, right?
And it's like an afternoon. You go in and you basically run through the game show, and they figure out what sucks about it and what's worth keeping.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Super easy.
It's easy money.
Yeah.
But from there, they started hiring me to be like their backup host. So I would host these presentations of the shows that they would send to the network.
You were the sizzle reel guy.
I was the sizzle reel guy. I ended up getting a meeting with NBC out of it. It was crazy. So after that, someone submitted me to be on Price is Right last year. And so I got virtual audition. Next thing I know, I'm on Price is Right. It's completely different than you've ever seen it because it's COVID rules and stuff.
No audience?
No audience. Drew's got a beard. And I end up winning the whole thing. And so it's just
fucking love it. That is awesome, dude. So basically, you don't just get picked to go on game shows; you win them once you're there. That's the goal.
I mean, you know what? I'm probably going to guarantee you this though. This will probably be my last one. The Price is Right because I'm CBS won't have me back. ABC won't have me back. NBC.
Not only are you recognizable at this point, you keep fucking winning all the money. Like,
that's right.
If you were just fun and lost all the time, if you were like dumb as shit, they'd be like, "No, bring back the moron. He's great.
Right.
He's entertaining, and we don't have to give him anything in the end."
Yeah, he's a friggin' idiot. We love him.
Yeah, that is insane, man. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know anybody else with those stats in the world of game shows, and I don't know once someone was like, "My aunt won a washer and dryer on Price is Right." I was like, "Oh, cool." That was it. You've won like 3 game shows, like big prizes.
I think as I looked it up, I was thinking, you know how it is. I want to hustle, man. I wasn't getting any money. I was like, maybe I could write a book about like how to get on game shows and stuff. And I looked it up, and I think the people that have been on the most game shows, it's been like runs. So like they've been on Jeopardy for 100 episodes. They've been on Family Feud for 25.
They keep winning, so they keep coming
winning
back.
The same show. But as far as like multiple shows, I would have to think like I'm up there in the amount of game shows I've done. I mean, I'm even in the pilot of some that are on the air now. I mean, maybe I should write that book, John.
Dude, people write books all the time, like how to get onto Shark Tank or how to do this or how to do that. It's like, what? Fuck, why not? Because it's just one more thing to add to your growing list of just like a pile of things you can do. Like, I'm a writer too. It's like, it's phenomenal, dude.
But you know how it is, man. You just have to keep, like, when one thing shuts down, you just got to keep doing it. I remember when I first moved back here in 2011, I went to every agency. I was writing scripts at the time. I went to every agency. I called it Easter Bunning. So I went to every literary agency. I lied my way into the bathroom had to use the bathroom, I would drop a script in the stall thinking that one agent, when he was taking a shit, might see this and think, oh, someone from inside the agency left this. Maybe I should bring it in.
I got to call this Shaun Broyls guy whose name is on this script I found on the shitter because it is dynamite, honestly. What the fuck? Leaving scripts in the toilet. That is sitcom worthy, dude.
Man,
that is
I got no calls, man.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, isn't it? I bought a little, and here's the funny thing, because I was still living in Kansas at the time. I took this trip out here specifically to Easter Bunny these scripts, and I bought a portable, one of those drop cell phones. What do they call them? The throwaway cell phones.
Oh, the burners? You bought a drug dealer's cell phone?
I bought a drug dealer's cell phone so I'd have an 818 number to put on the script. Never worked out.
You know
Stan
what,
Greenstein never called.
I will say this, though. The innovation, the motivation, the work. I mean, there are people who, I have friends who back in the day, you'd look at them and you're like, if you just put 5 seconds of legitimate thought into doing something, instead of figuring out how you could scheme and scam and make money illegally, you could be a success already. And like, it's people like you that are just like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. Cause why not? It's like, I'm not hurting anyone. I'm trying to get my points, my ideas made. I'm not going to stop trying to do that. Here's an idea I had to get my idea seen. And worst case scenario, you literally have amazing stories about places you've left scripts all over the fucking United States.
Isn't that the best part about the whole thing? The stories. I mean,
that's all that matters to me anyway. You know what I mean?
I got that. I got the Stan Greenstein nonsense. Look,
Dude.
I could write a book of my failures. Oh, I did write a book of my failures called Just Give Up. I remember that. So yeah, that's right. I've written that book already. So I guess I should write a sequel.
Well, dude, yeah. I mean, look, I want to put up links to all your stuff, but how do you, when it comes to personal training, is there like a client you won't take on? Is there somebody who's so far gone that you're like,
oh, absolutely not. No, I mean, I take one guy, he's 350 or something. He hasn't worked out in 10 years. I have clients who are relatively fit, some who are older, like my dad, 88. I have some 50, 60-year-old clients. Really, I do a pretty big health thing at the beginning just to make sure like there's nothing really wrong, like that I can't work. There's some things I can't do, but it just is out of my scope. But like in general, even if you haven't worked out in 20 years and you're 200 pounds overweight, I'll take you on because I can put a program together for, like, I don't have like a cookie cutter sheet for everybody. It's an individual thing because I can't program something for my 88-year-old dad the same way I'd program something for me. So
no, because that's not, but working out is different for everybody. Exercise is different for everybody. There are people that can just do cardio and they get shredded, and there are people that can do cardio and never drop a pound.
And it's like, about what you enjoy. Like, I'm not going to make you lift weights if you don't like it. So, like, I'm going to do what you like and figure out a way to get you in shape and healthy. It's basically being about healthy, man. I don't really care about the weight loss. It's just about being healthy.
That's exactly right. It's being healthy to the point where you are physically healthy and then having a positive mental self-image about yourself. You know what I mean? Because people who become overweight or let themselves go, it becomes a mental cycle. Well, like I'm because I used to be that way. I was like, I'm too far gone to fucking lose this weight. I gotta fucking deal with what I got. Right. It's like, no, you just literally it takes people like you, motivators. Like that to me is the personal training benefit is like it's a built-in motivator. It's a guy or woman right there telling you can do this. One more. Let's go.
I couldn't tell you how many clients, probably 100% of them have told me, you know what, I wouldn't have done that on my own. And they say, I wouldn't have thought that I could do. And that's why they hire me, because they say, I would never have known I could do that. So, and if you can't tell, if you're interested, if you can't tell, I'm a lot of fun. So when we work out, it's fun. It's not like it's me screaming at you like the guy in,
you're not Sergeant Slaughter.
Full Metal Jacket or something. Yeah, right. it's I'm not going to make you go into the bathroom with a rifle and freaking blow your head off after a workout. It's just, it's fun. We get you there. That's it.
How can people find you if they're? I will post links and everything when we post the show. But
you can find me on any social media platform. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I mean, you can follow me anywhere, and you just send me a message. I look at my messages all the time, and if you're interested, we can talk and see whether it's for you.
That's awesome.
And even that, and two, actors and anybody, if you guys have any questions for me, look, I'm happy to share my experience and stuff, because not too many actors out here are willing to share their experience because they think they're gonna help the competition. But I don't care about that stuff, man. I'm all to help people out.
I'm with you now. I mean, that was my, like I said, that was my thought process back in the day, and now I'm just like, what? If there's room for everybody, just come on, let's go.
You got that right.
Yeah, man. Shaun, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
You got it, John.
Super pumped. That was great. And anybody interested in getting in shape, no matter what, find Shaun on social media and give him a call. He can help you.
All right.
Thanks,
Go
buddy.
Sox.
All right. Okay. I'll give that to you. Take it easy,
All
man.
right, man.
All
See you
right.
later.
Late. And that was my discussion about personal training with Shaun Broyls, everybody. We covered a lot there, but hopefully if you're thinking about getting a personal trainer, this might motivate you into doing just that. And like he said, you can find him anywhere online. Drop him a message. He's glad to talk to you. That's it for this week, guys. Indy, you got some Instagram handles or anything you want to share?
It's at Indy Fawcett, y'all. Fawcett like Farrah, Indy like Indiana.
Perfect, dude.
Yeah. At
Indy Fawcett. You can find me on Instagram at JON_HUCK and on Twitter at JONHUCK. Guys, thank you so much. See you next time.